It's Powerback time on the Gutsy Podcast, your 20-minute boost to reclaim and refocus your energy. Get ready to have bursts of clarity, a boost of confidence, and the practical steps you need to make gutsy moves forward. You've got big things to do, so let's get your power back. You make a lot of decisions every single day, but how many of them are intentional? And what are you choosing? Because it's what you've always known. Big breakthroughs, aha moments, that shift that actually sticks this time, it doesn't come from continuing to do the same thing over and over again. It happens when you stop for a second. You analyze what it is that you really want. You experiment with something new. You try something different. And before you know it, that next answer is right in front of you. Today's Powerback episode is all about making intentional choices, slowing down long enough to even get curious about what it is that you want in the first place, reworking the details, and then moving with intent. This autopilot thing you've been doing, that's not going to get you to where you want to be. But slowing down long enough to intentionally choose what it is that you actually want and how you want to do it, now we're talking. Like many of the things that I teach you here on the Gutsy Podcast, this is a habit, okay? This is a muscle that we have to build. It doesn't always come naturally for us to catch or notice the things that make us feel a certain way, or if there's hesitation, or, if you've got a tightness in your chest, or even just to notice like, hey, I just don't even fucking like this, okay? As children, we are naturally inclined to be creative, to explore, to want to try and do new things. And then we start to grow up, and all these pressures and expectations and models and the way that people have done things for 18 bajillion years, it gets shoved down our throats. We get thrown into these atmospheres and situations where change is not allowed or it's not celebrated. In school, we're taught to follow a very specific path, and then we get into the workforce where it's like, hey, just do it the way that we tell you to do it, and everything will be fine. So over time, we tend to just dismiss those feelings, to say, hey, it's not even worth it. I'm not even going to try this. Or we get caught into a routine and we don't have as much time to think about it or explore it or even just choose. Really, this whole episode is about choosing, okay? Choosing what is right for you, choosing what feels good, what feels interesting. And all these things stack up along the way that tell us, you're not allowed to choose. You have to follow what the standards have been set as. And let's not forget that as women, there has never been a time where we have had the right or ability to 100% choose everything in our life. So you can see the odds have been stacked against our favor, okay? But that doesn't mean that we can't do anything about it. In fact, the way that the bigger changes happen are in the individual micro moments of all of our days. And one of the ways that we can do this is start making more intentional choices, getting out of autopilot, breaking this system, even within our own day-to-day lives where we're just going with the flow. We're just doing what everyone else has told us to do. And instead being like, you know what? I don't want to do that. I don't like this anymore. There's a different way that I want to show up. There's a different way I want to say this. There's a different way that I want to dress. This work schedule doesn't work for me anymore. I don't like launching this program, right? Like really just starting to notice what we like and what we don't. Questioning things instead of just doing it to appease people. And underneath of all of this, rediscovering what it is that we want and need in the first place. This conversation was inspired by a conversation that I had with a gal that I met at a conference last year, who then we met up in the hall. We had this fantastic conversation. She's been listening to the Gutsy Podcast. So Ashley, hello. Thank you for inspiring this conversation today, because it was what you are doing, your intentional choice, that is now going to inspire other women to do the same. Ashley and I got on a connection call. I wanted to see how she was doing. It's been a little while since we saw one another. And we were talking about naturally making gutsy moves. And I was asking what are some of the things you're doing? What are you focusing on right now? And she said, you know what? My word for this year is intentional. And I'm like, tell me more. I want to hear all the goods. And she was like, Laura, I'm just being really intentional about what I'm choosing to absorb. And she used this example of listening to podcasts. We were talking about the Gutsy Podcast and some of the other shows that she listens to. And she's like, before really being intentional, I just had this really big stack of podcasts that I was listening to. And I noticed that I just kept listening to them, whether I enjoyed the episode or not, if it was a topic that I wanted to or not. She was consuming. She was absorbing to absorb. And she was like, you know what? I'm about to make a pivot. I'm shifting something in my life, and I want to be incredibly intentional about the things that I'm choosing. I want to be so incredibly aware of what I'm absorbing that I stop and question everything. Side note here for a second, I think a really important element of this story is that she is beginning to make a change in her life. She's shifting something about her identity. There's a next level of her life that she is working on and towards. And as we are embracing a new chapter, a new career, a career pivot, a shift in your relationship, something that you're doing differently in your life where you're like, this isn't it anymore, and there's something bigger or different or a next level that I'm working on and towards, this is such a critical, important time for you to be extra intentional about what it is that you choose. Because if we think about the version of you that already has that, I did a Powerback episode on this a couple of weeks ago, it's important for you to make decisions as that version of you here, now, and today. The way that you get the things that you truly want is by acting, moving, and deciding the way that your future self would naturally move without even thinking about it. So that's what Ashley has done here in this situation. She can already envision what it is that she wants. She's already taking movements and steps towards it. So this is an element to help support this change. So I asked Ashley, how are you evaluating, how are you intentionally choosing the content that you want to absorb? And she's like, well, with the podcast stuff specifically, I'm stopping and reading the show notes before I hit play, like really reading down through the bullets. Is this something that I'm interested in? Is this something that I want to learn about? Notice the want in here. This is a really important part of this process, is evaluating the want, the draw, the desire, the curiosity. Let this start to be your driver. She's also looking at the links and the guest speaker, and she's going and evaluating these things. Yes, this takes a little bit more time, but it saves you a lot more time in the long run if you get halfway through an episode or you're 30 or 40 minutes in and you're like, no, this is not what I wanted. The other thing that she's doing is just feeling into it. Like, is there a natural vibe here? Do I feel drawn to this person or this topic? Listen, I will always tell you that your body never lies. It is a compass. It's forever guiding you. Your only job is to listen. So if there is a draw, if there is a pull, if there's that curiosity, trust that energetic feeling, even if the like logistical context doesn't make any sense. Or maybe you're reading it and you're like, yeah, I feel like I should want to know about this, but your body's like, well, I don't like this. There's something off here. I don't really enjoy this. I'm kind of pushing it away, like putting a toddler in a freaking car seat. Trust that just as much. Notice how that word should popped in there. Oh, I should want to read this. I should do this. Shoulds are always going to be coming from an external source. This is more of the going with the flow and doing what's expected of you, okay? You're not intentionally choosing when you're following a should. Okay, back it up. You are not intentionally choosing when you are following a should. That's going to be one of those sayings where you're like, damn it, Laura. And that's okay. I accept those because that means I have gotten in your brain and planted a seed for you to remember that you get to choose. You actually get to choose way more often than what your brain and the world is trying to tell you that you're allowed to. I really loved this conversation with Ashley, and the reason it inspired this conversation today is because it shows us how we're able to choose. Yes, there may be bigger things that we don't have a direct say in, but you know what you do have a direct say in? The hundreds, if not thousands of decisions that you're making on a daily basis. She's choosing to be intentional about what she's consuming instead of doing what she's always done. She's choosing to consume for growth instead of consuming for numbers. And that's because she has chosen where she's headed. She's identified what she wants, and she knows that I have to shift my habits, the way that I do things, in order to get that. Let me give you another quick example. I have been incredibly aware of the words and phrases that I'm using in my email and in my social media content. I've been feeling this friction around certain phrases that I say. Things like, let's move the needle, and can we circle back around? Or I hope this email finds you well, or I'm just following up. Do you see where I'm going with this? Okay, while I've never worked in what might be considered traditional corporations, I have worked within a bigger company, and I work with a lot of people that work in larger corporations. And there just tends to be a little bit of a lingo that is formed within those four walls that somehow expanded to like all of fucking North America. As I'm writing emails or as I'm writing captions for my social media post, I can hear some of those tendencies come into play. Some of those phrases, especially in email where it's like, hey, wanted to see what we need to do to move the needle. And I'm like, I would never in 10,000 million years fucking say that in real life. That's not how I talk. Okay. Not even by a long shot. I would never say, hey, let's circle back around to this. I'm like, who are you? Like, why are you talking like this? Oh, because I've been around it. I've absorbed it. I have been introduced to this many, many years ago as the communication standard when you're communicating with professional people. Don't even get me started on LinkedIn. I'm noticing the friction. And I want you to see this as key point 1 here. Noticing when something doesn't feel right. Noticing when you feel a pull or a draw to do something differently. And for me, with these words, the deeper underneath period is like, my voice is so much more expansive than this. My brand and my tone and my natural energetic field is gutsy. There is nothing gutsy about saying, I hope this finds you well. It's also not making my pitch emails stand out to event planners or showing the women that are interested in working with me what it's actually like to work with me. So I'm like, okay, this is not working. I don't like this. Got it. What do I actually want instead? How do I want to say this? How would true Laura show up and write this email or write this caption? And for me, that looks like taking out filler words, taking out buffer words, taking out corporate jargon. Look, I'm not saying that this shit doesn't work. I'm saying it doesn't work for me. And that's the key differentiator that I want you to get really clear on. Just because it's working somewhere else doesn't mean it's supposed to work for you. You have been making it work to abide by the rules that were never created for you. In these situations, I'm like, okay, how do I actually want to say this? I'll write it out sometimes and read it back and I'm like, Laura, try again. And I'll highlight, I'll delete, and then I'll actually write it by myself. And I can tell you that every single time that I follow that instead of going with what feels like the right professional thing to do, that's the shit that always pops off. If you've listened to my episode about the beef and the brawl situation on LinkedIn, that was one of those situations where I started to write it and I was like, no, I'm just going to copy and paste it. I'm just going to put in this very unfiltered, very human, very raw and relatable story. And it's my most successful post of all time on LinkedIn. I've been doing this when I'm connecting with people. My initial message to them is very short and very disruptive, but in the best of ways. And I have booked more connection calls from changing just my wording and my energy around it than I have in years. Does it work for everybody? No, but it works for the right people. And that is the fucking gold. Think about it. Would you continue to listen to the Gutsy podcast if I filtered my tone to be more palatable? If I erased all of my little isms, I stopped cussing, and I started to communicate through a corporate trainer lens? No, you're probably going to bounce. You're going to be like, I don't know what you're doing, but I don't fucking like that. You're here because there's something about the way that I deliver content. There's something about the way that I communicate with you that resonates with you. There's fucking proof. We tend to make decisions to be more widely accepted. And you know something? I don't need everyone to love me. I just need the right people in my world at the right time. And here you are. After I decide what I actually want to say, I rework the details. You heard me. I rewrite the email. I shift the social caption. I change the wording in the DM. Whatever it is, if I've noticed I don't like it, I pick what I actually want, then I rework it, and then you know what I do? I hit send. I move. We choose what we want and then we move. And sometimes this happens in like a 30-second span, and sometimes this requires a little bit more thought. But either way, it's intentionally choosing. This is breaking the habit of the shoulds and following the good girl shit. It's instead saying, I have something to say and I'm going to say it my way. There's something that I want and I'm going to try it a new way. I'm done doing something the way I've always done it simply because that's how I've always done it. Being intentional about your choices is what changes things. And it changes things in the direction of the life that you actually want, of the business that feels exciting and energetic, of the career that adds value to your life instead of sucking it out of your soul. And intentional choosing goes down into the micro fibers of your choices. Think about what you chose to eat for lunch today. Did you intentionally choose that? Or did you just grab something blindly or sit at your desk and eat it without even noticing the color of what it is that you were eating? Did you intentionally choose where you wanted to sit on the bus or at an event or at a networking thing that you went to today? Or did you feel obligated to sit somewhere because somebody was rushing around you and you didn't want to be a bother? Did you intentionally choose the shoes that you wanted to wear today based off of the climate or the day or how long you were going to be wearing them? Or did you pick something that you felt like everyone else is going to think that you have your shit together from? See what I'm saying? The intentional choice happens hundreds, if not thousands of times a day. And I'm not saying that you have to be so freaking locked into every micro detail because that could be all consuming. But I am challenging you to pick something in your world, one thing where you begin to build this muscle around noticing. You could pick food. You start to notice how you feel. How are you consuming it? And start intentionally choosing what you want to consume, how you want to consume it, what makes you feel good and really strong in your body. You could go Ashley's route and getting really intentional about what you are consuming, whether that's podcasts or emails or social media content, news. I mean, gosh, it's never ending. Maybe it's your voice, your words, noticing where you really feel like yourself versus where you feel like you're pulling back, holding back, or containing. In business, this might be intentionally choosing how you're showing up on social media. How do you feel most alive communicating and sharing your message? I mean, can we change a lot of shit? Yeah, of course. But we also want to do this in a way that's sustainable, in a way that you can start to see and feel traction. The way you get to start taking your power back after today is by intentionally choosing. Pick one thing where you can go all in, where you can really start to notice. That's the first step here, is to notice. Notice when there is resistance, where you feel like you're holding back, where it doesn't feel like you, it feels heavy, it feels like too much. Notice the signs and the symptoms that your body is giving you. Notice when you're hesitating, when something just doesn't feel right. That is information. That information is dialing right into a compass, which is trying to give you direction. The next, back it up. Give it a little bit of space. You don't have to do things in the moment all the time. Sometimes we just need to take a breather. You'll be freaking amazed at what even a 30-second pause will do for your brain. It's like it wipes things clean. It gives you a clear path and you're like, oh, I get it now. I can see. Then choose. What do I want instead? What would feel good to me? What would feel expansive? What feels more like me? Then rework the details, make the micro shifts, rework the content, shift the way that you're showing up, change your lunch order, whatever it is, right? Like rework those little details and then move with intent. Hit send, speak up, raise your hand. Hit unsubscribe, whatever that action is, let's let that action support the thing that you noticed, where you have recalibrated now and have intentionally chosen what you want. This is a gutsy move, by the way, because you're getting off the fucking autopilot train and instead coming back online to yourself. This is where sustainable change happens. This is when you actually start to see and feel movement in your life and in your career. You start to feel better. Okay, maybe the best one, all of them, You start to feel better because you are advocating for yourself. Instead of going with the flow, instead of doing what John fucking told you to do 18 years ago, you're doing what you actually want to do today. I don't know who John is or why he came up today, but apparently he did one of you wrong and he's getting called out. I know this takes a little bit more work, but isn't it so much better to know that this is the work that gives you what you want? I mean, Ashley is absorbing the right content that she wants. She is able to really embody the things that she wants to learn. She can go deeper and remember the things that she's learning. For me, when I'm shifting those emails, I'm getting responses. I'm getting calls booked. I'm getting new clients. Women are not drawn into Auraline because I'm some picture perfect corporate speaking woman. They're drawn to Auraline because they're ready to make their next big move and they know that I'm the person to help them do it. They know I'm going to keep it straight to them. They know I'm going to help them see what they can't see, and they know that I'm going to help them get it done. All because I noticed I don't like fucking talking like this in business. I shifted my tone, I show up as myself, and voila, it works. Eventually, the things that you are intentionally choosing today become second nature later. The work is only work until it's embodied, and then it's just simply part of who you are and how you make decisions. If you've been teeter-tottering on that line, if you're yeah, I'm ready for that next big move, I'm ready to do the thing, I'm ready to expand to that next level, I'm just not really sure what to do. I've been trying to figure this out on my own for far too long. I just need someone to help me see what I can't see and hold me accountable as I do it. Auraline is a great next step for you. If you've got questions or you just want to talk details, shoot me a DM. We'll figure it out together. Otherwise, you can go to lauraaura.com/mastermind to get started. All right, my friend, that's what I got for you today. I'm excited to see what intentional choices that you make. And I'm most excited for you to see and feel the changes that it brings into your life. I want to celebrate those things with me. So send me a DM. Tell me what intentional choices that you've made and how it's making a difference in your world. You can find me on all the platforms using @thatlauraaura. And as always, until I see you next time, stay gutsy.